Tonight, we're one step closer to draft beer here in Troy.
Plus, the university honors several students. Stay tuned. Troy TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello, welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for April 23rd, 2014. I'm Jamarlo Phillips.
And I'm Courtney Addison. Thank you for joining us this evening. The Troy City Council suspended the rules at last night's council meeting to speed up the draft beer process. And in less than 24 hours, you'll be able to enjoy your favorite beer on tap at many local restaurants. After about 4 months of paperwork, deliberation, and waiting, draft beer is now legal in Troy. After suspending the rules at Tuesday night City Council meeting, the draft beer ordinance passed with a 4-0 vote. But the waiting isn't over just yet. Before the first pool can be made, the new policy must be advertised in the Troy Messenger, which will go out on Thursday. And Councilman Marcus Paramore says this will be an exciting day for the city.
It's a real big day for those restaurant owners and those people who want this. It'll help their business. It'll help with economic development. It'll help with tourism. So it's a good day for them, as well as the constituents who wanted it and want to partake in draft beer.
By being able to serve draft beer, restaurants are able to provide a wider variety of beverages to accommodate customer desires. And even though this has been a rather lengthy process, many restaurant owners haven't wasted any time gearing up for Thursday.
I know of at least a half a dozen businesses that are ready to sell on Thursday. Quite a few are still in the process of getting the equipment and getting it installed properly.
But there are stipulations and regulations that come along with this new ordinance, rules that the city feels will help keep Troy safe.
You'll not be able to take draft beer with you anywhere. You won't be able to buy a keg at a store or at a wholesaler and take it home with you, or to have a keg party or anything like that.
Paramore also noted that the city will continue looking into ways to improve downtown Troy. Once again, we can expect the first pool tomorrow.
Troy University students were recognized for their achievements during the university's annual honors convocation last night in the Claudia Crosby Theater. Major General Stephen Quast from the Air University at Maxwell Air Force Base served as the keynote speaker. Students from each of the university's 5 colleges are recognized for their achievements, including those inducted into various honor societies. Among the awards presented is the Ingalls Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching. This year's winner was history professor Joe McCall.
Won the Ingalls Award, which for me is just an outstanding honor. And part of what's been real special for me at Troy was at first my department. They supported me, they welcomed me, they encouraged me every year. As a non-tenure track professor, my official title is a lecturer now. Every year you sort of wonder, well, will I get asked back? And every year I have been. So I'm grateful to my department for their support.
As the Ingalls winner, McCall received a statue of Socrates, a plaque, and a check for $1,000. Well, Courtney, Troy University is home to a variety and a large population of students from China.
That's right, Jamarlo. And for some of those students, something as simple as food can help remind them of home. As Lena Tui shows us, they prepare a traditional dish with a name familiar to us in the South, but it's not quite the same.
Dumpling is a kind of folk food with a long history, which is popular among the ordinary people. During the Spring Festival, dumpling is more become a kind of timely, indispensable ritual food.
In China, we eat dumpling at the Spring Festival, but we cannot buy the real Chinese dumpling here. So we make and cook dumpling by ourselves. And, make dumpling is not too difficult for Chinese. So now we really do that, not just at the Spring Festival.
Even the dumpling is the traditional Chinese food, but now it's very popular in the whole world, especially in the United States.
I've had both American and Chinese style dumplings. American dumplings, are usually just little pieces of flour mixed with chicken and stuff like that. But Chinese dumplings, wrapped with the meat and vegetables and stuff like that in it. I've had both, and I'd say I like Chinese dumplings better than I like American dumplings.
The skin of the traditional Chinese dumpling can be either thin or thicker. The popular meat filling includes ground pork, ground beef, ground chicken, shrimp, and even fish. The popular mixture include pork with Chinese cabbage, pork with garlic chives, pork and shrimp with vegetables. The filling mixture vary depending on personal tastes and regions. Lina Cui, TrojanVision News.
Troy University's Chinese student population is the largest segment for Troy's international student body.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Montgomery, the Alabama Revenue Department says license plate transactions will continue while the Department of Public Safety shuts down the issuance of driver licenses for a few days. Revenue officials say vehicle owners with valid licenses or non-driver IDs may continue renewing their motor vehicle registrations or purchasing new license plates at county license plate offices. The Department of Public Safety says it has to convert a driver license database to comply with federal regulations.
And in Northport, police say a body of a 77-year-old man who was reported missing earlier this week has been found in a crashed truck. The body of John Douglas Perry was found yesterday in the truck in Northport.
And in Calhoun County, officials say Anniston police fatally shot a man who was accused of pointing a pellet gun at them. The county coroner says 53-year-old Frank Charles Johnston was pronounced dead after being shot outside his house in the Blue Mountain area yesterday morning.
And still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, both the softball and baseball team were in non-conference action last night, but only one team picked up a victory. Danielle Percival will be in with those details when she joins us with sports. Now Danielle Percival joins us with sports. So Danielle, for most students, the semester is really winding down, but that's not exactly the case for the baseball or the softball team, and both those teams were actually in action last night. You said one had a victory and one didn't. Can you tell me a little about that?
Well, that's right, Courtney. The softball team playing at home in the newly renovated softball complex was able to find success. The baseball team not quite so lucky on the road. We'll take a look at both those games here in sports.
All right.
The Trojan softball team was in a pitcher's duel yesterday against Florida A&M, and thanks to a stellar performance by J.C. Affelt, the Trojans came away victorious. The Trojans won 4-0 against the Rattlers, but the scoring wasn't the big story. Affelt had a career-high 11 strikeouts in the game and allowed just 4 hits, making this her 8th consecutive start, giving up 5 or fewer hits. In the 5th inning, the Trojans got on the board, though, with 2 runs, including a solo shot by Heather Johnston, her 3rd homer of the season. The Trojans would add 2 more insurance runs in the 6th. The Trojans will have their final home series this weekend as they play host to Texas State. Before Saturday's doubleheader, there will be a dedication ceremony for the new practice facility, the Dodd Center. Be sure to tune in to TrojanVision Nightly News tomorrow night for a preview of the facility. The baseball team was on the road last night, as we mentioned, taking on the Sanford Bulldogs in the first of 2 midweek matchups for the team. The Bulldogs got the better of the Trojans in the first matchup in Troy and won again last night 6-2 to sweep the Trojans this season. The team fell behind early and was playing catch-up all night as starter Cody Hughes walked the first 2 batters of the game, then gave up a 3-run bomb with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. Now, the Trojans were able to cut into the lead and score 2 in the top of the second, but following that, no Troy batter was able to get a base hit until the 7th inning. After a long weekend on the road, assistant coach Brad Phillips knows the team has a tough challenge ahead of them in these midweek games.
We're going to have to just bring the energy to the midweek games that you always end up having to do, because all teams are in the middle of conference right now, and those midweek games tend to be tough at times, especially coming off long road trips and so on. So it'll be interesting to see how our team rebounds coming off the weekend.
The Trojans are right back at it again tonight in Jacksonville as they will be looking for redemption after the Gamecocks took the first meeting this season in Troy. First pitch in Jacksonville is scheduled for 6 p.m. And the Trojan men's golf team ended the season with an 8th place finish in the Sun Belt Conference Championship. Jake Tucker was the Trojans' top overall finisher, coming in tied for 14th after shooting 4 over par. Tolver Dozier led the Trojans in the final round with the best round of any Trojan golfers in the championship, shooting 2 under. While the men's season may be over, the women are preparing for the NCAA tournament now and will be having an NCAA women's golf selection show party at the Brick on 231 at 4:30 Monday afternoon. The selection show will reveal where the team will be headed for their regional, which will be May 8th through 10th. And the Trojan track and field team is gearing up for their only home meet of the season, which will be this weekend. The annual Coach O Invitational will begin on Friday afternoon with the hammer throw and long jump and continue through Saturday. There will be several conference teams traveling to compete in the meet, including Georgia State and South Alabama. Director of Track and Field Jill Lancaster says being at home is a huge advantage for her athletes.
We always produce at home, And we've been traveling. We get to sleep in our own beds, and we're started at Taper Zone and all event areas. They feel great. Some of them started coming through last week, and we expect some more to come through this week, and some will keep coming through conference. But there's nothing better than being in your own family to compete.
The meet will begin on Friday afternoon with the women's hammer throw and men's long jump at 3 p.m. with Saturday's events beginning at 10 a.m. Admission to the meet is free, and students don't forget the track meet is worth 5 affinity points if you bring your student ID. Well, spring football is in the books, but for many players, spring practice is a time to move up the depth chart in preparation for the fall. Logan Kane takes a look at one player who transitioned from walk-on to the top spot in his position.
Up a long hill. But if you ask Tommy Blevins, he'd probably rather sprint.
Coming out of high school, I'd kind of given up playing football. I really wasn't planning on doing anything, actually just going to school. So Troy actually called late February probably, so really gave me an opportunity to come down. I met with the coaches. They were interested in me taking a walk-on spot. That was really the only offer I'd had coming out of high school, so I jumped on it, was really excited. Came down with my dad, met with Coach Wisen, and just kind of went from there.
The path to success for a walk-on is a narrow one, and few have the courage to stick it out.
As a walk-on, there's a lot of challenges you face. I know just being constantly worried about how you're going to pay for school or what you might do to pay for summer classes, things like that. Also just the tiring of practicing and doing all these things and not getting anything from it, feeling like you're not having any value, maybe because you weren't in the recruiting process or maybe you're a little bit down the depth chart. So just facing things like that can cause you to have thoughts maybe about leaving or wanting to play other positions, do things like that. And really just tough, really just trying to press through and push through and overcome those things.
Troy just released its newest depth chart, and guess who made it at the #1 spot for the tight end position?
It was really exciting coming to a new semester, getting on scholarship, and just seeing your name on the depth chart, seeing your name up top. It's a pretty gratifying feeling, just coming from not really being recruited much to seeing your name on a depth chart, in Division I football. So it's a really exciting feeling.
Logan Kane, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Trojans start their season on August 30th against UAB in Birmingham. So Jamarlo Courtney, we heard about the baseball team, didn't have that much success last night, but they've got the chance to go at it again tonight. They'll be in action in Jacksonville. Of course, the Gamecocks took game 1, which was back in Troy earlier in the season, but the Trojans have a chance for redemption tonight at 6 o'clock.
Absolutely. Best of luck to the baseball team, and hopefully the softball team kind of keep it going as they play this weekend and get another win.
Well, that's right. Softball and baseball both in action on campus this weekend.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Danielle.
Thanks.